Hey there, I'm Cal. I'm one of the co-founders here at HotSpot. I want to show you guys how I make steaks in the HotSpot grill. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to heat up half of this pretty hot. So I'm going to use this kind of as a searing side. Then on the other side here, what I'm going to do is just a little bit lower heat. So this is where they can cook a bit, the meat can cook a little bit more. Just going to resize that searing section actually a little bit, just to make it a tad bigger. I like to sear my meat quite well. And what we're going to do as well is we're going to pre-season this grill. What that means is we're going to add a little bit of butter, so this helps with any sort of sticking or anything like that. Also adds a beautiful flavor. We're going to want to get that kind of everywhere. You can see this side's already heated up quite nicely, and the other side over here is still a bit cooler as it comes up to temperature. That's what I really like about HotSpot over, say, hibachi, is that you can have, two kind of temperature zones. You can actually have as many temperature zones as you want. So it makes grilling quite a treat, especially with that sear, right? So I'll take my first steak here. This one's completely unseasoned. So what we're going to want to do is put a little bit of garlic first on the grill. This garlic will add a bit of flavor to the side, so we'll let that soak for a little bit here. Also add in a bit of salt. This is Himalayan salt, my favorite. We'll add that all across the grill. Alright, so I'm ready to add this steak on. You see HotSpot heats up very quickly. Ready to get a nice sear on that. We've got some other steaks here, they're marinating. So we've got a nice rib steak here. We can throw that on as well. Remember, I resized that grilling area, so we can actually cook quite a bit here at once. So we've got our strip, that one's unmarinated, and our rib that is marinated, cooking there in unison, getting that first sear on them. All right, we got one side seared, so let's flip it over to the other side here for a quick sear on the other side. See, HotSpot gets that really, really nice sear on it, and that high temperature is from those really powerful burner cells underneath the grid. Again, just a real joy to cook on. So I think we've got a good sear on those steaks now. We'll move them over to the other side here to cook for a little bit longer. I said we really, now that we've locked in the flavor of that sear, we can let them slow cook there for a little while. What I'm going to do in the meantime, though, is one of my favorite things to do when it comes to steak is beef short ribs. And these are probably my favorite thing to do on HotSpot. So I'm actually going to throw it on here and cook it up a little bit early, using that really hot side that we've already heated up. And what I can do is I can actually resize the grill area. Just wipe off my hand here. We'll resize the grill area, and that will allow us to really center that heat and not waste a whole lot of electricity either. That's one nice thing about a HotSpot steak compared to a traditional kind of hibachi stove. You can really center that heat. You can get good differentials in the temperatures, as well as saving on your electricity bill, of course, as well. We're actually working here at HotSpot. You saw me try, using the touchscreen with dirty hands. It's still not ideal. We like to keep ours clean here. In the future, we're looking to move towards voice technology. So we'd love your input. If you can shoot us some messages over at www.hotspot.150startups.com. We'd love to know your guys' input. What are your challenges when it comes to cooking? Ours obviously is use your hands, even if it's the dials on your stove. Nobody likes getting those dirty. So I think voice technology is one thing that we've really identified as something that would be cool to add to the HotSpot stove. All right, we're back. And one of my favorite things about HotSpot is that I can get everyone's steak cooked just right, whether it's medium rare all the way up to well done. I can do it all at the same time, and that's really awesome. So we're gonna flip these steaks here. And so we got the ribs. That one's cooking on a really high temperature there to get a really nice sear and a little bit of a crispy flavor on a beef rib. Over here we have that New York strip that's doing a little bit of a slow cook. Same with our rib here. Those are starting to look really, really nice on HotSpot. Get flavored with all of that garlic that we have here and the Himalayan salt we used earlier. And what we're going to do is soak up a lot of that flavor into the vegetables we're going to have tonight as well. So I'll create a little bridging region here between the two. We'll turn it up to about a medium heat, so I'm using a 4 out of 5, 4 out of 9, I should say. And we'll let that heat up for a second, and then I'll throw some of these veggies in here and really soak up all of that great flavor that we've created on our grill through the seasoning process and the cooking of our meat. You hear them sizzling already. That's how fast HotSpot heats up. It's really nice not having that pan that takes so much time to heat up. And just cooking right on the surface, everything's very quick. Transitional times and temperatures are just so much faster with it. And that's one thing I really enjoy about cooking on the HotSpot grill. Okay, everything's cooking up really nice here. I think our beef rib's pretty much almost done. That's looking delicious. Our rib steak also looking very, very close to being done. Our New York strip coming along very nicely as well. Pretty much the whole meal again, cooking all about the right time, and that's I know a struggle that I've had before, especially when I'm using the barbecue and I want to do something on my stove at home. Quite a challenge to work all those different times out exactly when you want something prepared. Here on the HotSpot, having full control of everything you're cooking is a really, really big benefit, and just makes the whole cooking experience really easy. You see, I've been able to just stand here in front of the stove, have some stuff prepared. It's been really a fun process itself. Pretty much ready to serve this stuff. I've got 2 of our other HotSpot employees here with me right now. Of course, we, if you don't eat off of what you create, there's no point in creating it. So again, Isaac here, he's our CTO to come over. This is his steak right here. And Ilya, I'll get you to grab this big rib steak here. Ilya is our COO, the main man in charge of all of our operations. And you know what, Ilya, come grab this rib steak as well. I'm going to come join you guys, but I don't have a plate yet. We'll put all those veggies on here as well. You need some veggies there, Isaac? The veggies are really the best part, and that's coming from a bunch of engineering students. Once you get that flavor soaked into them, they're really a great time. Okay, we'll power this off, and just give us one moment, and we're going to be right back to show you guys. After we've made such a big mess like this, we're going to show you how easy it is to clean up on the HotSpot stove. So, you guys have asked a lot of questions about how do we clean up this gigantic mess we made. Well, turns out it's not that big of a mess. But now I'm going to quickly take you through it. So we use vinegar. It gets everything off really, really quickly. It's easy to use. So I was going to pour a little bit on here. I personally like to just use the back of the spatula that we've been using. It's easy enough to just kind of scrape any of these harder sections off of the HotSpot grill top. Once we have that going, Isaac will just come here. We can start soaking up some of this with just a paper towel. This would normally be a pretty tough mess, even at home in a pan. We used Coke to marinate one of those steaks. Quite sticky if anyone's familiar with that substance. Let's just clean off this last little bit here with the spatula. And then what we do is we just use a little scrubbing pad and finish stuff off here. We've got most of any of the dirt off with that spatula rub and the vinegar, so it makes everything really, really easy from here on out. One final wipe down. The HotSpot stove is clean. That was pretty easy, especially for the huge meal we just cooked up for the team. Alright guys, catch us in our next film, and remember, if you want to connect with us, go to hotspot.150startups.com.